Hello there, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of Warpportal Weekly.
I am covered by the chat. That's okay.
Sure, you can click on that, and I think you can click and drag. Or click on that and then click Edit Image. It'll be kind of one of the buttons on the bottom.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, we
we're
are
live right
live.
now. So all this stuff they're going to be seeing.
And so fancy Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Sponsored by.
Brought to you by Diet Coke, the delicious fat-free beverage that's not short in flavor. So we're joined today by some very, very special guests. Not that last week's guests were not special. They're very dear to our hearts. But this week, we've got the Requiem development team. We've got Alteris and Helium.
Hello. Yo.
Those are the real names, by the way.
Yep.
Nobody knew. It's a total coincidence. But yeah, you guys are production or development team?
We're both. We do everything.
All hats.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is very cool. Yeah, Requiem is, it's only one of our titles that has ragdoll physics at the moment. So, I'd love to get those in RO1, you kill pouring and it just goes tumbling everywhere. But yeah, you guys have done a ton of really cool looking stuff you've been working on. I'll probably ask you guys a little bit later about the process of sort of grabbing the reins on it, but do you want to just give like a quick introduction of who you are?
You go first.
Okay, great. Well, I've been working on Requiem for a long time, since before we were doing in-house development, which we started doing just over a year ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But I started out here on the support team, actually answering tickets for Requiem. And,
I think I remember that.
Moved into production for the title, and now I'm developing content for it. So that's my history. A lot of people in Requiem, the old players that are still around, know me. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I came in as a CM for Requiem at first, and then they moved me to Maestia. That lasted about as much as like 2 months.
Bad.
And then after that, they promoted me to producer for Requiem. And from there, we took over development, sent me to Korea, learned the basics, learned all the nuances, came back, taught everyone what, how to
Use that
work on the game. Yeah, pretty much. And here I am. Just, yeah.
Awesome. So we'll start off with some softballs here. We're all about that. And then Maridah is at the chat, and I'm Oda here.
Yeah, I'll shoot you guys questions if we get anything creative.
Yeah, so if you guys have questions for our Requiem friends here or for us, just chime in the chat and make sure to let folks know. We're broadcasting today at twitch.tv/warpportal, and we do this show every week at 5 p.m. on Fridays. So I guess the question number 2 would be, what got you guys interested in video games in the first place?
For me, I mean, it's been my bread and butter since I was like 2. Like, all I've been playing was games. So I remember the first game I played was when I was 2.
Mm-hmm.
Was my uncle's old computer. He had like Zorro on it.
Zorro?
Yeah, it was like kind of like a Prince of Persia-ish kind of game.
Yeah.
And I was really into that. And then what got me really interested in like getting into the scene was Chrono Trigger, actually. So Chrono Trigger, they had this one secret quest, or not secret quest, secret ending, where you'd fight Lavos like right in the beginning. And then when you do and you beat him, you go into a secret area where it's like filled with all the developers, sprites. And they're all like giving goofy messages, like, "Oh, I can't wait for Chrono Trigger 2. I'm still waiting for Chrono Trigger 2." Chrono Cross does not count. Does not count.
I think most people agree on that one.
But yeah, that got me really interested. And then I started learning names like Shigeru Miyamoto, Kojima, all those like famous Japanese developers. And I was like, I want to be one of them. I want to make games. I want to bring everyone like a different experience, storytelling. Yeah.
So that's very cool. Seems like, that SNES for Chrono Trigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then PC kind of like formative experiences for you growing up.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
For me, it was all about getting an NES when I was a kid. That was the first system I had. I went backwards from there and got some older stuff to just check out, but and forwards as well. But I haven't had a console for a while now. I've been strictly PC since like in the '64 maybe.
Master
Wow.
Race. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
pretty
not
much
something-
for yeah, about the same for me. Like I had a PC between like the NES and maybe PlayStation era, but yeah, PC has really become like a really great platform for games.
You have to wait a long time.
thanks to
sometimes.
things like Steam.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, I mean, a lot of Japanese developers are finally jumping on the wagon
right?
and bringing all their games. Like Square Enix is bringing Final Fantasies into the PC world. GTA. I mean, GTA 5 just came out finally.
I've been waiting for that.
Yeah.
Now they just need to do Red Dead, and I'd be happy.
Why them? That's like instant money.
That's a whole different story with Red Dead. It sounds like it barely came together
Yeah.
at all. So,
Yeah, and most
so
of the
like,
staff is gone too. So
yeah,
sadly.
but what was your favorite NES game when you first
Metroid.
started out? That's a
Metroid
good
by
choice.
far.
That's a
Metroid by
hell of
far.
a choice.
Metroid by far. Super Mario Bros. Is fun, but Metroid by far.
Oh, I
And then Zelda.
It created a genre, right? Kind of that, what we call Metroidvania.
But yeah, and the juxtaposition between things like Metroid and Zelda, even with a system like the NES, you can, I mean, these are completely two different, like, ultimately totally different games, right? And a totally different experience, but it's on a very simple system. You get that much variety.
Well, I was blown away that you could actually save your game in Zelda. I'm like, how does that even work?
Stick a little battery in there.
Well, yeah, the one I
And it
have at
died.
home is probably way dead now. That is very cool. Now, what would you say, of all the games that you've played between then and now, what is your favorite game?
Me? Or
Grand Theft
No,
Auto,
you
Grand
can
Theft Auto
choose.
San Andreas.
you like Grand Theft Auto?
Oh,
San Andreas was just,
it's a slow start, but once it gets rolling, when you have a jetpack and you're trying to rescue an alien,
even
and
when you're the skinny kid in the
you can make yourself fat too.
Yeah, you can. That was great.
It was the most ambitious game I think I've still ever played. The depths of customization, of options for clothing, just how big the world was. I think they still haven't made a game like that. Like even Grand Theft Auto 5, for all of its scale,
It's
doesn't
not-
have all of that.
I haven't
But at least it brought
haven't been
Jets
there
back.
yet. I haven't been there yet,
Yeah.
so hopefully real soon I'll be there. Check
It's
that
good.
out.
It's
Is
very
it
good.
Yeah.
So the chat's surprised that your favorite game is not Requiem.
Instead of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time, it's like, sorry Metroid, but
Yeah.
I have a new mistress and her name is Requiem.
I think it's also hard to separate sometimes the project you work on with when it's your own personal entertainment. It's a little bit different.
if you wanted
we
to-
wouldn't be here if we didn't love
Right.
the games that we work
Yeah.
If you want to talk about time put in too,
Yeah.
Requiem is the most time put in playing, and after that, Asheron's Call.
Well, I mean, Requiem. See, like
That was a long time ago.
we see it behind the scenes. So there's a lot of things that we're like, oh, we don't like this part of the game, or we wish this was better. We always see. It's like whenever you do something yourself, you always see the flaws first. So it's really hard to be like, oh, it's the best game. Like, there's no flaws. It's my favorite game in the world. No, you see everything, all the bugs. So it's kind of,
Well,
I want to put it up there, but
It's like
just,
when you work in a restaurant,
Mhm.
like you'll enjoy the food because you know how it's made, but it's not gonna be like the first time you go to a restaurant and just like
Mhm.
sitting down there. It's kind of, it's different.
yeah, it's
You're
very
looking at
different.
it through a different lens.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 questions from the chat. What's the most frustrating game that you've played? And from he's asking what your current favorite PC game is and why is it RO2? Because he's being a troll. So
Frustrating. Tag Pro.
Tag Pro.
Well, wait, you're, for the question that you answered San Andreas, what was yours?
Oh, mine? It has to be Secret of Mana.
Mmm.
That like playing with my little brother and my little sister. We got the multi-tap, and it was really fun. And what I liked about it was like, throughout every game, the main hero, he's just like the best at everything, right?
Mhm.
But in Secret of Mana, I thought it was funny, like, the first temple you go to, they say, no, you can't use magic, to the main hero. And it's just like, oh, you have this limitation of never using magic, you're just a melee fighter. And I like that about like Conan and stuff like that, where they're just like,
I have a
everything,
sword.
yeah, everything's against them, but they have a sword, and they man it up, and just go through. And Secret of Mana had that same kind of feel to me. So, like,
That was the secret of mana, that you couldn't use any mana?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Move this chat so it's not over anybody's
I haven't
face.
had my beard off in a really long time.
So.
Yeah,
In fact,
yeah.
you can find pictures.
So going back
No,
to
I
the
think
going
they mean
back.
like who has a longer beard.
Yeah, there's a question about comparing
I
beards.
don't think
We've got some pretty epic
I
beards,
don't
to be
think that
honest.
yours beard's is long.
Well,
It's
he
just
did
wild.
recently
Yeah.
shave it, so I think he's automatically going to lose that contest.
Gonna have
So
to trim.
Or
Yeah.
was it?
For difficulty, I forgot there's this one Super Nintendo game. It was like a Western RPG. You play it first person, and I think it was called like Drakan?
Oh,
Dragon?
no, I remember that.
You remember that?
It was very confusing.
Yeah.
What the hell was I doing?
Yeah,
Walking
you just-
around
you
this
just-
world thinking
You start the game and you're like in a field, and you're just like, what's going on? You don't even know what your party members are. It
Hell of
was,
a long walk to
I
any
spent like hundreds of my childhood hours trying to make sense of that game.
I remember.
Just trying to make sense, because it was a gift from like one of my aunts from way down. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I heard you like games. So they sent me this, and she's like, I know you like dragons. And I see this like Drakan. I'm like, whoa, what? Look, the box looked cool. It had this dragon. I'm like, oh, I was like, pop it in. It's like, you're in a field.
Oh man, so it's like a mud almost.
Yeah, so it was like really wicked. Like random things would just attack you. You don't know what's friendly or not, and
You know what? That was a Dark Souls of its time.
probably, yeah.
I mean, I guess all games were pretty much like that.
Yeah,
back
like
then.
it was like Nintendo hard? No, it was just confusing. Yeah, that's my hardest game.
I remember this game on the Commodore where it was build your own role RPG.
Whoa.
The game I built. Oh my god. First of all,
It was
first-
Requiem Zero.
the first room had so much stuff in it that you pick it all up and you couldn't walk anymore.
No, that's
Oh,
a trap.
well, that's the trap, right? Yeah. guess
I
figured
love
it out.
that.
So Helium, a question for you from our chat. They're referring to you as Beard Man and want to know
Yeah.
how long it takes to clean your beard, and do you condition it?
Takes about as long as it takes to clean the top of my head, I suppose.
I mean,
It's just
you
gonna
have
be
some
But I
beard
clean it
time
all
to
at
get
one
used to it.
time, really.
Oh
we
my
should
God.
do like
It's
the
one
charity
big
event.
shampoo mess.
We should do a charity
Come
event.
on, no.
They wanna
Don't
know-
even
Where we could
suggest it.
shave your beard off.
I'm up for that. Let's
No,
do it.
that's.
No, I'm up for that.
Would you cut off Samson's hair?
like
Would you cut Achilles' heel?
I'm tired
the
of
whole
it. I'm
time
just
I
too
was
lazy to
employed
shave
here,
it.
I have never seen you clean shaven.
I'm just, I
I
don't want to have to get a routine going
It was
every
like
day
the-
where I have to do it.
Well, it's just a machine that just rubs on your face, man.
Electric razors, that's another thing. Then you have the thing to clean every day.
I think the one time we saw you clean shaven was
I've had a goatee.
when you
Security's
got
like,
your
just
when you got
Mr.
your interview.
Oh
And you
yeah,
had
well,
your
yeah,
hair
I had my
tied
hair
back in a
real tight,
ponytail.
and I had a little trimmed goatee and a stash.
I
and
can't
that
even
was it.
imagine that. Like that's how.
That was how I was in 2008.
Helium
Wow.
looked like
Give it a year.
he looked like a business, just like step right off from Wall Street. He was crazy. He was
I
crazy.
can't even
There are
imagine that.
so
'cause I've
many
never
Like a
seen
questions
it.
about it.
hipster. Maybe I look like a hipster. I don't know.
Okay, so off the beard topic, because this is
Yeah, you're killing
it's, yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's just going south real quick into
Well.
wizard territory, but
Beard science.
Next question.
Yeah. What's the next question? Let's go.
Sure. Next question is, how do you get into the video game industry?
For me, I've always wanted to get in, but back in like the 90s,
And we
right?
can say what the companies are.
Yeah, okay. And back in the 90s, trying to get in the game industry was like, it's like trying to get to the White House as a kid. Like it was like this far off, like holy land, right? You're like, I want to be there. But then you go to college and they don't tell you like, oh, you take this class and you're a game designer. It's like, no, you don't have that. You got like, I mean, back then an artist could be a game designer, a programmer could be the game designer.
You have to kind of do everything.
Yeah, you just happen to land in that lucky spot, you know. And as I grew up, I was like, well, I'm really bad at math, you know. I'm Asian, but I'm terrible at math. I'm like an anomaly.
Hey, I hear you, buddy.
So I was like, all right, so I'll draw. You know, I'm decent at drawing, so I'll do that.
You are.
And then as I went in, I was like, I went to illustration. I went to like college and everything. And then they're like, all right, for your final class, you have to do an internship. And I was like, man. So I went to all these comic book companies, these publishers, and they're like, no, sorry, we're out of space. And I was like, man. So I looked up Nexon. And they had like a graphic design position
We'll
open.
bleep that out later. No,
So, and then they're like, oh, we're interested, you're cool, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get it. And then the day before, they're like, oh, sorry, our numbers are wrong. Like, we don't have enough space. I was like, oh, do you have any other internships there? And they're like, community. I was like, all right, just get me in. I just need an internship. And then I got in, and then people, you know, I worked there. People liked me. They liked my work ethic, so they kept me on board. And
I think people kind of knew, you know, found out who you were.
So I was there for about 2 years, and I first started off in Vindictus. I was community manager for that.
Oh, okay.
Then
I played a little tiny bit of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool game.
It was not what I was expecting, since
No.
it was supposed to be like Mabinogi too.
Yes, everyone was thinking like it's gonna be open world and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you're like instant space.
Yeah.
After that, they moved me to Dragon Saga, then Dungeon Fighter, and then I was doing all three at once. And then, you know, I got a job offer at Gravity, so I was like, you know what? I'll take it. You know, I want to try something new. And then I heard about like, Gravity is well known for like, even CS moving up into like producers positions and stuff. And it's really hard for bigger companies like Nexon to move up. So I was like, you know, I'll try a smaller company.
It's like the Klingons, you have to kill your superior officer.
Yeah, you gotta take out their heart. So, yeah. And then I here I am, Gravity.
Very cool.
I see a question about
Yeah.
cross content.
Cross content. So one of the questions is about if you could do cross content with Dragon Saga between Requiem and Dragon Saga, would you consider it?
Do our users want that? I didn't know that they
Well,
did.
the funny thing is, for Requiem, one of the first raid bosses we introduced was this crystalline dragon, right? Because we were really digging into this Nightmare Crescent theme of like snow and ice and
frozen stuff.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know.
the lowest level of hell in Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, so we're like, you know, it'd be cool because there's already like a poison dragon. Was
Yeah, I've
Runeworm's
read
poison,
books.
right? Like
Yeah,
it's
Runeworm's
like
poison.
curse.
Yeah.
And then we had Doomstrass, which is like the lava flame dragon. So we're like ice crystal dragon, and we made this pretty. I think it's pretty cool, like ice crystal dragon. Like how horror can you get an ice crystal dragon, right? So we put it in, and we got like people going, oh, it doesn't match the theme. It's not horror enough. So we're like, yeah, all right, we get it. I guess we won't do these type of monsters anymore. But you know,
Then you went and did a humongous storyline thing, and I
Well,
won't even get into that.
I like story because
Well, now we have one.
So in Requiem, I thought a lot of the things I was missing was like story. You know?
Yeah.
You can't really get into the game. Like you first start the game, we're like, who am I fighting? Like why am I fighting?
It's like you're in 10 period.
It's
What
vague
is
on
that?
purpose.
Yeah, what's a
in
tip period?
sense. It's vague
Yeah.
on purpose, though.
Well,
You're not.
You can make it vague
you
on
don't know where you
purpose,
came from.
but you can still pick it up. But like it was like not even there. Like actually, recently we added a cutscene to the game.
Oh,
Yeah, we did.
Well, we'll have to see if we can get that loaded up maybe
Yeah.
a little further into the episode. We'll just keep track of. Oh,
That's worth
plenty of time.
So yeah, we added a beginning cutscene. So I mean,
when you start
you
the
should
game,
know about it.
You know, what they're talking about is a few of us here at the office got to do voiceover work for Requiem's cutscene. Now, it was a cutscene that had existed before but had never been put in.
So apparently it was in the files of Requiem, but it was like done way like what 2006, 2007, something like
when
that.
it had been released in Korea.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
in Korea, but then it used like Korean style English, so it was like doctor, bad, the heart person, we must fix. It's like So we decided to redub it with you guys and create
That
a more
was really
consistent storyline.
You know, you were very good at directing the voice acting.
Thank you.
I think it came out great. Like, now here's a clip that we'll have to.
We'll show it some other time. Or if they go in the game, once you start a brand new character, it's the first thing that pops
You guys
up.
have to create a Requiem account, get in the game right now, but finish watching
And
this.
try to figure
yeah,
out.
finish watching us first.
If you have a second
Get the
monitor,
Steam
you can do
download
that.
Try
started
to-
while you're
Yeah.
watching. It's
Well,
very
I mean,
easy.
you could try to figure out where Oda is in that one.
I think people might be able to tell. It is a very distinctive voice.
You don't have to do it right now.
Oh.
So we have a question from Crispy Lays about what everybody's first day at Warpportal was like. If you guys can
It wasn't
remember.
Warpportal when it was my first day.
Well, you know, even back when we were of Gravity Interactive LLC.
What the first day was?
Yeah, what your first
Well,
day was like.
see,
if you can
I
remember.
got to play video games all day.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, at that time, you know, when you got hired on with the CS team, it was like, sit down and play all of our games, you
Yeah.
know, or at the very least, like, you know, I think we had Ragnarok and Rose back then, but it's like, you know, just spend some time, create characters, get to know everything.
My first day was pretty confusing. I joined, and they're like, "You're a new community manager." I'm like, "Of what?" It took like a whole week and a half for them to figure out. Oh, Requiem. Because like they're like, "Oh, should we put you on Rose, Dragon Saga? We need another RO." I don't think we need an RO. And they're like, "Maestia, but it's not out yet." And they're like just like flipping me everywhere. And they're just like, "Try all the games."
You know what? Random roll.
What
And
about
then
you?
after I got pretty good in Dragon Saga, they're like, "Requiem." I'm like, okay.
Awesome.
So what about you, Oda? What was your first day like?
My first day was fun. I got hired on like a Friday, so after I got called in, I think my first day was actually on a Saturday. It was something weird like that, and I came in and we had a second floor office, but the door on the first floor was locked.
Well,
And so it's like,
weird.
See,
See, I wasn't there for the second office. I came like right
or this
before.
was back in the first office.
That was the very first office.
The very
I didn't-
first
I didn't
office.
even see that one.
Oh.
That was-
So that was a little bit of panic, like, I'm here, you know, I want to clock in.
Let me in. I want to work.
But yeah, back in that day, it was just like, you know, play the game, you know, take a look at the emails, the GMs that are on shift. So I was eventually able to get in. But yeah, it was very interesting when it was just doing customer support for one game.
All the titles were separate at first.
Yeah, we had a teeny tiny GM room.
That was actually a question that came up too, is that we ever worked on Ragnarok, not necessarily on Ragnarok, but the RO team is right here in the same office with us. We all work together. All the Warpportal titles.
I mean, that's for the CS side. I think they're maybe talking about like development wise.
Oh, well,
Development-wise,
that's a
no.
whole nother,
Yeah,
whole nother world.
development's
There's
separate.
development.
They're all different
teams
engines.
all over the world doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only similar engine in our company is probably what, RO2 and Requiem.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They're
we
pretty
have a
similar.
fairly similar.
Well, RO2 is, yeah.
Yeah.
They built it
Built
off
on
of
the same
Requiem.
architecture,
Right,
I think.
right, but
Um,
since our development is in Korea for that.
Well, we do have weekly meetings and we kind of talk about what we're working on. You know, when we have like, hey, you know, I could really use the help of like, from a developer's perspective or from a producer or community manager, like, what do you think about this idea? And so that's kind of one of the things we'll do from time to time. Outside of video games, what kind of hobbies do you have?
Well, we both have something similar interest. It's Magic the Gathering.
I
nerds.
would've said music, but okay.
Oh,
That's-
don't you mean, what was the code word for it?
Shampoo.
Shampoo?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So there was a period when Magic the Gathering was so popular in the office that management actually had to put a restriction on. people were trading decks
Oh,
and like
man.
organizing, but it wasn't really that bad.
Well, we were playing games in between, like on the desk space between us, you know, like pawn shift.
okay then.
You guys
So,
have a problem.
maybe
But it became illegal to say the
Yeah,
word.
that's
it
back
became
then our-
a legal word, and it became
Yeah,
shampoo.
yeah, that's.
Shampoo.
We would go shampoo.
Well, I mean, have you guys played it for a pretty long time?
I've been playing it since like
High school.
I've been playing it since junior high, so you're older than me.
High school.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
played since like
Quit though for a
4th
while.
edition.
It was this office that made me start playing again.
Oh really?
Oh boy, this
Yeah,
this
I came
office
back
is
and
really
people
bad
were
about
playing
enabling.
Enabling is a big problem
some,
here, yeah.
Some expensive habits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially like those chairs we tried today. Oh man. Talk about enabling
We'll have
some
to mention
expensive
that during the
habits.
stream. Maybe we can.
Right.
You know what?
We should plug them.
Do a promotional deal maybe.
You get one of
We'll
the
do a stream for you guys if you guys give us one of those giant massage chairs.
We-
Can you imagine if we're interviewing in those right now?
As
Yeah.
much
I'd be like,
So before we did the live stream today, we did get to try out some. In our office, there's a company that is selling these full body massage chairs.
Oh,
It's
Kahuna,
fantastic.
right? Kahuna massage chairs.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those,
something like
yeah.
that.
Kahuna chairs. You can find them on Facebook. We'll give them a free plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very comfortable, and they do.
They lift you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like literally lift
It's
you
like
up.
one of those fancy airline seats, but it does a massage too.
Yeah, and it'll like
Just
grab
put
your
a
legs
blanket
and
over me and I'm
arms.
done.
and-
Yeah.
Just
It's crazy. It's like you're in this pod, and it's just
It's like being inside of an Ava unit or something.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Might
pretty
as well be
gnarly.
amniotic.
It even
but
like
not as
massages your
horrible
arms
as being
too.
inside
Yeah,
an Ava unit.
You know,
would
your
be.
feet and everything.
who's
It's
seen
awesome.
I Heart Huckabees?
So
Seen I Heart Huckabees?
I have
No.
not seen
No,
that.
what is that?
It's too bad. It's a great movie anyway. There's a great reference I could have made. But
Well, so the movies you're a fan of. I think you're also a fan of music.
I am.
As a hobby.
I put some music into Rose actually.
Whoa!
Awesome.
See, that's a
Oh, and Requiem.
collaboration.
And Requiem, yeah, I'm not as proud yet of that, but we'll put some more in that sounds good soon. Yeah, Rose got, I did Oblivion Temple and another map together with Mark Santorama. We worked together.
Yeah.
It was a collaboration.
We're mostly using code words, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know, that's all right.
Well, he's, you know,
That's fine.
he would
that's
want to
fine.
get his name plugged in music
Oh,
anyway
okay.
because
All
he's
right,
DJing
that's
now.
cool.
He's a DJ.
Okay.
He's a DJ.
He actually
wants his
DJ'd
name.
for my wedding.
Yeah.
That is super.
Wow.
Yeah, him and his cousin. Yeah.
No, he's always super good at that.
Yeah, it
If
was
he
cheap
could-
too.
If you can get any DJ jobs out of this, then hey,
Uh,
I'm sure you'd be happy.
But I mean, aside from magic, you have.
Let's see. I have a degree in illustration, so I do draw, but it's more of a hobby. I mean, besides that, it's really just gaming. Like I play all sorts of games. I'm really into like competitive gaming. I really like Counter-Strike, StarCraft 2, League of Legends. Just competitive gaming in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're all into the esports.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically the was it Razor Ramon? No. What's the name of that super famous Counter-Strike guy?
I don't remember.
He has his own line of like peripherals.
I do not know.
Oh.
Think
Well,
of the name.
See, I don't
this
really
is
look.
This is a
Anyways.
Wikipedia cast. And,
So we need to change our questions up a little bit since we still have our questions from our
yeah,
GMs.
some of those are.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite league champion? Why is it not Timo?
No, I love Timo. Actually, I have a dog named Timo.
That is
I have a-
dedication.
I have a Corgi Papillon mix, and he's freaking adorable.
Oh,
and
that
for
sounds
last
very
Halloween, we dressed him as Timo, and oh my god, so many people loved him. It was hilarious. But actually, my favorite champion though is Garen. I love that whole like
Which is that one?
he's the one with the giant sword and has no mana. I love earlier questions. I like characters.
Is he the double-handed sword guy or is he the shield
Two-handed.
guy?
Two-handed sword. He's like Demacia.
Comes at you like this.
He spins to win.
Oh,
He just
I think I've
spins.
seen that guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't spin when someone ults him.
Huh?
I
He
said he
just
doesn't
drops
spin.
the sword
He
and
doesn't
just-
spin when someone ults him.
Well, someone asked, Adrizzo online, sorry,
Well,
it's
it's
kind
not
of far
one-
away.
yeah,
Says League
it's-
but not Dota?
Well, I played Dota 1, and then Dota 2 is pretty much carbon copy of Dota 1.
So it's not
So
different.
it's not different enough. Like League had like a bunch of different alterations, and I think Dota 2, while it's great, my wife loves League of Legends because it's more aesthetically pleasing to her. She likes the skins and
Okay.
stuff. So it's
I
like,
can
well,
see
I like Dota style play, and if I could play with my wife, that's a plus. So we play together.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right. I fixed the questions.
All right. The next question is, what is your favorite part of being a developer?
Oh, that's easy. Just everything. I like spending hours just fine tuning items, thinking of different systems to build for the games, like the whole daily quest system. Like there's bugs and like people not liking the system at first, but we like the idea of like making items stronger over time with more dedication. Instead of just like, hey, here's $50, give me the best item in the game. No, like this item takes a while to build, sock it into
It
your
becomes
armor.
like an investment.
Yeah, and we like that. We like putting that kind of stuff in the game, changing the story, talking to the artists and asking them to give us concepts. Oh, looking at concepts is awesome. Like the latest one.
Whenever you get the
Oh man,
concept
yeah.
art.
For the Requiem people, we're working on some like new raid bosses that are like elemental themed, and it looks pretty cool. I like it.
It seems like being able to think up an idea and actually putting that in the game, that seems like a very like intoxicating kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, it's great when you build something and then players actually enjoy it. I mean, they're not going to enjoy it all the time, but we always get the feedback. All right, last time we built this, guys, they didn't like this, this, and this. And it's always like a go back and forth
So
process.
you're kind of improving it.
Yeah.
The Pogs and the Slammers were loved.
Yeah, but
That was
They were
that was
Pogs
great
and
to
the
see.
Slammers, I think they're still up on the warpportal.com.
They are still up there,
still a lot in game too.
but it was great to see you guys working on that.
oh man, that took a while to build, but it was worth it.
And it brought back the Pog nostalgia in the office. We're all talking about our Pog
The
problem
Pog
as when we were like
nostalgia.
10.
I missed the Pog craze when it happened. but-
Aw,
Really? Oh.
man.
I used to have like tubs of them on my
Yeah.
belt and stuff when
Oh
I was
my
a kid.
gosh.
I had like the Slammer, the Quicksilver one, just.
I was still playing Magic when people were doing Pogs.
Dude, you could. All right, back then,
I didn't Pog.
the Pogs were worth more than Magic cards, so I could give someone like
Yeah,
3
back
Slammers, and they gave me like a rare, or
It's true.
it was awesome.
It's amazing how much money they were
Yeah,
worth.
they're
I mean,
worth
that
a
was
lot of
basically
money.
the Bitcoin of its era, of course.
It's currency at the playground.
Well,
Magic has survived that actually.
That
They're
is
still
true.
around.
Magic will be around for a while.
Well, Pogs are technically still around if you go to the dollar store.
Yeah.
I found some there,
Or
so.
if you just
They're still around for me.
Yeah, you can make your own.
Well, so what is your favorite part about being a developer?
Actually, to be honest, learning what I've learned, not just about Requiem, but what I have to do for the job. I teach myself a lot of things, tech stuff on the back end.
Mhm.
I've learned how to use SQL. I've learned how to, manipulate databases that way. And I've learned how to, well, you don't so much learn how to do the content as much as you learn how to use Excel.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's the learning. It's always a learning process.
That is super cool.
Especially when the process is all in Korean.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Google Translate on the
what does
job.
that mean? Oh.
Jeez.
Yeah, seeing a giant Excel file full of Korean
Yes.
is a little intimidating, regardless of what you're doing.
Well, let's pull a question from the audience.
Sure, let me throw one out. Are we going to ask the Nyor question?
Sure.
He wants to know whether you would want to fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses.
100 duck-sized horses,
You
probably.
think?
Yeah, I could kick
I
100
don't know,
times.
no,
That's
first
a martial
time-
art.
But
A
if you-
horse-sized duck sounds epic.
Yeah, also,
I want that.
it's a singular target and a
No.
lot easier to
You
hit.
imagine, remember
Well,
Zelda when all
what would you rather fight? Not
chickens
who,
would-
No.
not who you would beat. It's who you would want.
What, you would fight a horse-sized duck?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
The
It's easier.
feathers would
Yeah.
be you.
You know, ducks are
It's a single-
carnivorous, right?
A single target. You don't have to. 100?
Yeah.
That's true. You don't have to have a lot of peripheral vision. You know,
You
can
just
just
need
focus
one-
on the
Yeah,
one
but then
great
if you have
swing of a
100
bat.
duck-sized horses, it's not like those horses are gonna fly. They're horses. They're stuck
Yeah,
on the
but they
floor.
can still
You
buy
could
for a
just-
kick.
They don't,
Okay.
they're
Make
like
it tired.
itty bitty. You could pump
You ever
the
been
crap
bit by
out
a
of them.
horse?
Huh?
You ever been bit by a horse?
But then they're smaller
smaller teeth.
Smaller
I guess.
teeth, yeah,
But
way
still,
smaller.
it'd be like getting bit by a chihuahua.
Yeah, but have you been bitten by a duck the size of a horse?
You'd probably be
basically like a
dead.
peck.
You
Echo
lose your
at that
arm in
point.
an instant. It's just rip it off.
So we have our
So
next
you-
Requiem
yeah.
monster.
So you're
the
gonna make
next
a
raid
giant
boss.
duck?
There is no duck zone.
Bunny and a big blue ox.
There's no duck level, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should try it. I think you should make a giant duck. Put it in there.
We seriously need to look into shaving my beard because with all this beard attention, yeah, we gotta do that. I
Yeah.
think that's gonna happen.
The
We,
beard
we can stream it. We can
Yeah, but
stream
that's
it.
what's gonna happen. We have
Okay,
to do
alright.
that. I'm
Let's
up
do
for it.
this.
Volunteer.
Awesome.
That's it, obviously. people
So Carl's Crazy says, how big is your dev team? What's a typical workday or week like for you?
Let's see. 1,
We
2,
wanna say
3,
that.
4, 5, 6.
That's it.
6 people. You got
Awesome.
artists, programmers, and then me and Helium here.
Some people work on more than one title too. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You know, some people who are, you know, maybe more like the technical side, you mean just kind of like going from one team to another one?
The programming side.
Yeah, I mean, programming is programming.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, tying into that, what would be the most difficult part of your job, generally?
Oh, that is easy for me. Translating to Korean.
Ah.
So we have some Korean players left, and I'm Korean, but like I was born and raised in the U.S., so my Korean is like as good as a 5th grader. And trying to translate that into Korean, like these epic storylines that I'm trying to think of, that is terrible. That takes like 3 days by itself just to translate like 5 quests.
Oh, man.
It's just insane. You have to translate the items, you have to translate the moves, the locations, the quests.
Good localization.
Oh,
really
man.
requires a lot of-
And I'm pretty sure those Korean people are like, what the heck is this guy writing?
This is not command of the
The
language.
ducks are 100 in number.
It's probably
They
as bad
bite
as when we read
like
it
a
when
horse.
it's in English.
Yeah.
Like
So they get a taste of our medicine.
Right, exactly. That's what we're getting.
Terrible Englishy? How about terrible Korean?
Exactly. Oh, man. The most difficult part, the lack of trial and error is the most difficult part because there's such a lack of good documentation sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
on
you
some
guys are like
things.
writing the book pretty
Right,
much.
when exactly. So trial and error, then making documentation saying, oh, next time I won't make this error. We'll just do this. So that's the most difficult part is having to go back and figure something out again that didn't go right.
Sure. What's our next question?
So, what is your daily routine like?
Very tedious these days, actually.
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
Looking for more fun.
alright, so besides my Tuesdays, which is just all production work, that's just all numbers. I'm like, weekly sales and goals and that's it.
Management wants.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a lot
all.
of reporting stuff.
Yeah,
It's all number
everybody's-
management stuff. A typical day, I come in, you know, I talk with the team, like what they've been working on, how far we got to, and then I look at the, because our team is outsourced, it's not like in-house. So I look at their emails, seeing how they progress and what they're adding, and I'd critique it, and I'd be like, okay, well, we're going for this. Let's for example, like say it's a turtle that's on fire with a penis for a head. I don't know. So I'd be
Sounds
like,
like
So it's
Requiem.
like Persona
Yeah.
Monster.
yeah,
type?
like a Persona or Shin Megami Tensei, and I'd be like, all right, I need more veins on the penis. They're like, not enough veins on that. It needs to be throbbing every time it walks.
Can you make it animated?
Yeah. So, yeah, I tell them that, and I go back and forth. And then,
Oh, we should totally talk about the card that was rejected for Steam.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll talk about that later. But, so after I do the art stuff, and then, you know, we go into the game, and I'd spend, like, maybe good 4 hours just doing Excel work. Because a lot of our game is based, you know, on Excel, and I put that in the game, test it,
Mm-hmm.
see what kind of bugs come up, take it down, put it back up with my changes, take it down, and this is the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Just kind of back and forth, back and
a lot
forth.
of testing and a lot of that kind of stuff.
And then once in a while, I'd go, once I'm like, I feel more satisfied with where it's going, I'd be like, hey, Helium, programmer dudes, come check it out. And then we run through it, and it's like, how does it look? How does it feel? That's it. And then keep going, and then go on the forums, see what they're talking about. Like, when the patch happens, for the first couple days, that's gonna be my thing, where I just look at the forums and be like, okay, that's broken, that's broken, that's broken. We have to fix it by the next patch, and then I take it down. We figure out solutions. But if that's not the case, and my previous one where I'm just like going back and forth, adding stuff to the game and testing it.
Very cool.
So we shocked some people in the chat. I guess not everybody's familiar with Requiem. It is definitely a R-rated game.
No,
so
M-rated.
M-rated.
Same difference.
Yeah.
I think it's our only M-rated title, right?
It's supposed to be 17 or older to play.
Yeah, so there is some concepts in it that are not PG. So we will probably be discussing some things like
Extreme
that.
violence.
I mean,
nudity.
for God's sakes, blow up a bunch of creatures into little itty bitty bits and
Yeah.
just fly everywhere.
Well, that's like a
A lot of
G-rating in
chicken.
America.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
But there are
for
some
all.
sexual themes too, so
Yeah, well, there-
yeah.
It's Peggy 13.
So don't be surprised if they throw out some more interesting words.
Well, for the next one, instead of anime series, I'm going to ask all of us here, what do you guys think of the Star Wars trailer? That's what everybody's talking about this week. I don't know if you guys might be into Star Wars or anything like that. You may have heard of it. It's pretty obscure.
War of the Stars. I don't know. Okay, so I'm not huge on Star Wars. It's not like my favorite series of all time, because sci-fi, I like it more realistic.
Okay.
So, but I do enjoy it. But after watching, back in high school, the hype of episode 1, 2, and 3,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that kinda let me
It's a little
down.
bit of a letdown.
So, watching the whole new thing, I'm just like, okay, is it going to be just as bad?
I always give J.J. Abrams a chance. It's not always good, but it's always worth a chance.
Yeah.
Because he can
That's
make
true.
some really good stuff. So I'm going to give it a chance.
I mean, the preview looks good, but I felt like they're really pulling on the heartstrings of the old fans.
I feel like it
There's a
was-
lot of
Yeah.
nostalgia.
It seems to me like an apology, if
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Because it's appealing to those of us out there who are going, you're going to ruin it, you're going to ruin it. And so I think that they want to try and butter us up and give us some of the stuff we want to see.
I think, yeah.
It's going to be a bait and switch, and if J.J. Abrams kills off with...
Yeah, it reminds me of the Reddit thread where it's just the R gaming thread. It's like, people remember this, guys? Yeah. Oh, how about GoldenEye 64? And yeah. It's like, okay, nostalgia's great, but I want to see something new. Don't retell episode 4 again and call it 7.
Look, the X-Wings look slightly
The
different.
Star Destroyer.
Actually, the
Star
only
Destroyer in the ground on a planet. That's never seen that before.
Well, that's for
Okay.
the Force Unleashed tie-in.
But then, the only thing that I really liked was the chrome-looking stormtrooper with the cloak. I thought, wow, that guy looks badass.
It's a cool look. So you're gonna have a cloak to kind of cover yourself up, but you're still made of silver.
Well,
That seems
all right.
like-
So usually with stormtroopers, you see a bunch of them together, walking down together. But this guy, Bamf. I guess I can't say that here. The true word I want to say is walking down the hallway by himself, looking like he's gonna shoot the crap out of someone. So I'm like, he's the new Boba Fett, I think.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That makes sense. to
Why
have
give a
an
screen
iconic
time?
character.
Why give screen exposure to this one soldier walking down the
He
thing?
crawled out
Unless
the Sarlacc pit, and then later on he's like, my dad.
Mandalorian X.0.
My dad, Django Fett. Yeah, Bubba, we know your dad. He got his head cut off. All right.
And something bad always happens to you guys. Just die.
Oh, always the worst way
Always
to
the
go.
worst way to go.
Well,
For you guys.
what did you think about it, Ian?
I know you're a huge Star Wars fan, so
Fed'll die again.
Yeah.
That's always gonna
That's a
happen,
rule, I
right?
mean.
That's a
Yeah.
rule.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm waiting to see. I'm
Alright.
not gonna get my hopes up.
one thing I hope they don't do
That's good.
is do the whole like Chinese choreography like lightsaber fight.
Um,
While it was kind of cool, it looked like they're just waving their lightsabers around and they're just like.
It was like choreography, but it didn't make sense for like, I want to kill this person.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're aiming for the lightsaber. They weren't aiming for like the eye, you know.
Actually, despite the bad story in the first and second and third, there were some good lightsaber fights.
No, I thought it was way too choreographed.
It
looked-
wasn't, but it wasn't the fancy like. It was a different kind of choreograph. It was more like Matrixy.
Yeah, and I think that's.
I think Matrix
I
is
was
a
okay
homage
with that for
myself.
Star Wars.
Like I liked Empire Strikes Back when Luke was just going.
Well, yeah,
ham
that was all raw.
on-
Like
yeah.
it was like fencing. It was.
Well, no,
like,
it was not fencing.
it
It's
was.
just him, just like
Well, 'cause
going at him,
Luke
like
was
you killed my
pretty bad.
father.
That was yeah, revenge game.
Like it's like strikes to kill, not like let's
No,
do this
that-
dance. You swing first, I'll swing next.
You're right.
You do the twirly thing, and I'll jump back, and I do the twirly thing.
It's like pro wrestling. It's like they're setting up these moves.
It's like no, like if it's like truly like I'm good, you're bad, and you have to die.
Another method acting. He was trying
He
to kill
should
him.
like
Yeah.
go for the kill, not this like let's do like fan dancing, guys. Like
Well, I think that in general, a lot of people can agree that the original films, there was a lot of emotion behind those scenes that you don't get in the prequels. It is much more like about explosions and flashy.
if they wanted
selling
explosions, they
toys.
could get Michael Bay. It's an instant,
Well,
I hope-
$1 billion
Please
movie.
don't
Funny
say
thing
that,
about
though.
mastery too. That you can't get a blow through, and that's how fast they're moving. But anyway, that's not really representative.
Well, like, all right, so-
necessarily.
So in like Chinese like martial arts film, if you can't get a blow through, you could clearly see from the master like why you can't. Like for instance, let's go back to Matrix. When Agent Smith finally fights Neo after he figured out he's the one,
Yeah.
and he just
And
stands
it's just
back
like-
and he's just like blocking with one hand instead of two hands. It's like a simple representation of like, hey, I'm better than you. You can't get a block through. But when they're both going like this and it's constantly dodging each other, it's like.
Well, it's like when he fought in a million.
they were doing
Agent Smiths in,
Sistine
like, 3.
Chapel
Yeah.
like
It was a little
shit
too
and
crazy.
stuff. They were okay.
It's
So
too
it wasn't even a
artsy.
fight.
I just wanted to like be true to the emotion rather than like flair.
Well, if you watch the Red Letter Media Plinkett review, he goes into this in great detail how the episode 4 lightsaber battle actually has more excitement and more meaning for the story because the characters are, it's the characters who you meet through the prequels, but this is them kind of like they're both sort of ruined physically, but the coming back and fighting after all these years apart, like you're kind of finding out about them, and it's kind of it's a way to
Raw.
deliver exposition.
It was a
while-
lot more raw, man. You didn't have like as much.
Well,
money
they're just
going
like-
into the choreography. Like it was
Yeah, they're just having a sword fight,
worked out there, like on the set.
I think it's also a little more realistic because honestly, when you see an actual sword fight go down, it's not as epic as it could be.
It's-
I mean, it's
it's
more epic for the people involved because they're like,
brutal.
oh crap.
Well, I
gotta
mean
get off
that's
it.
where the direction has to come. Like, how do
Yeah.
they direct it, and how do they use the camera angles to emphasize like?
There's gonna be a lot of lens flare, isn't there?
I don't mind lens flare as long as it's used right. I mean,
Teasing though, I don't mind.
Well,
Yeah.
as
So-
long as they keep the wipes.
What about you, Oda? What did you think of the?
I like it, certainly there's a lot of fan service in the trailer, but I think it's nice to see that it's a continuation of the original series. It's sort of like what George Lucas had talked about doing way long ago. It's like, well, I'm going to do the prequels, and then after that I'm going to have a movie set after the original trilogy, and I think people will like that. I have all this planned out years in advance, of course.
written
but-
on like a napkin from like Marie Calendar.
Yeah.
In several matchbooks.
But, even though I'm a little sad to see most of the extended universe go, there's a lot of it that was total crap. Everything pretty much except for Timothy Zahn's stuff was not that great.
Yeah, like
The Yuuzhan Vong I didn't really get into.
So I have a lot of friends in the nerdosphere, I guess, and there's a lot of Star Wars fans.
New name of our podcast, by the way.
Nerdosphere.
And there's like, oh yeah, Luke in the future knows how to turn his lightsaber into a shield. Like apparently he makes the lightsaber go around his body. I'm like, you know what you sound like? You sound like those guys who like make fan fictions about Goku going like Super Saiyan 6. Like Goku and Bulma make a baby and name him Trunko, and he goes Super Saiyan 6 and he's my boyfriend. It's like,
Yeah, I mean that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's a generation that grew up writing that kind of fan fiction that started.
yeah, the extended universe just sounded like fan
Well,
fiction.
to
It's like,
me, it's more like comic books. It seems to go like the comic book, really hyped, crazy story plots that doesn't really fit with the Star Wars.
yeah, like you just need to give it like a fan, like a crazed fan voice reading these books,
Yeah.
and it sounds like fan fiction. It's like, yeah, like Leia and Han Solo have a baby, and they name him Anakin, and he's destined to be like her father, and like
He turns out to be
he turns out to be evil, and
he's okay,
Dude,
but
you can totally write one of
Jason
these.
and Jaina are the twins,
And then-
and Jason's a jerk.
and then Luke Skywalker, this other bounty hunter, like Jango Fett, but it's a girl, and he falls in love with her, and they make babies. It's like.
hey, wait a minute now. Wait, you're treading on sacred ground, my
And
friend.
then Jango Fett, he flies out with a jetpack.
Reminds me of Superman
Or
flying
Boba
around
Fett.
and making the planet turn, and then all the time goes backwards.
that's-
Time goes backwards.
Yeah, it's just like that.
They-
And
that
then Luke
was
Skywalker
That
learns
was
the dark
fan
side
fiction,
and the
though.
light side, so he's like Super Saiyan 5 now.
Ooh,
And then Shadow the Hedgehog comes out.
You can direct your hate mail at Alteris.
I'm just saying.
Cut his tail
Well,
off.
I mean, once Shadow, you got Super Saiyan, and then he got all the.
I'm just waiting for Sonic and Shadow to do like the fusion dance and turn into like Sano the Hedgehog.
You know what? We can go on DeviantArt right now.
And then-
It's already happened.
And then like Knuckles' kid from the future comes back. He's like, Father, no.
I'm so glad this is where this went.
I love it. But yeah, for me, I'm excited. Like you, it's kind of like if it turns out to be just okay, that's fine. If it turns out to be bad, that's fine. But if it's actually good, there's more on the way.
I'm willing to get into it when it presents itself as good.
And I feel like Disney, they're
waiting for it.
smart. They're like,
Mhm.
if anything, the problem might be that they'll try to play it too safe. But it's
You know
like,
what? It worked out for Marvel. Like
it
when
worked out very well
It
for
worked out.
them.
Because before Disney acquired Marvel, I mean, we got movies like The Daredevil,
Mm.
Elektra.
Ooh.
I mean, I think if Disney was on board during that time, they would have been like,
No.
cut it.
That's probably controversial, but I think that the reboot on Star Trek was pretty good.
No, I thought it was.
Everyone's
I
going along
like
with
the
that.
first one quite a bit. The second
A
one,
little bit.
Second one felt
lost.
rushed. I think they
Yes.
could have cut
And it
in
was such a
half,
rip-off. Oh.
and it would have been good.
they spent so much time. Spoilers,
Kill
by the
Birdman.
way. They spent so much time like, we're not going to have that character that you all think is going to be in there, and it's like everybody's like, we
Yeah.
know you're going to do it.
They
Of course
were
you're gonna do it.
they were making the audience their enemy at the time.
Mm.
Like they're like, no, you guys are dumb. It's not gonna be Khan.
Yeah.
And then it was totally Khan. They're like, oh.
Well- I mean, yeah, you got us.
yeah.
Well, this
It's
is
like,
for Spock thing. It's not going to
Hey,
happen. Though,
M. Night Shyamalan, you don't need to have such a twist,
You don't need to. It's like
I felt that the first one, it made sense that they kind of like doubled. That it's kind of like some of the same things happened in the original Star Trek as in the new one. That made sense. But when the second one happened, and it's like the same thing happens again, like, oh, we ran into Khan again. It felt like it was retreading old territory.
An altered timeline really should be altered.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. Yeah, exactly.
There's so many cool things that you could do with that idea.
There will be similarities, but not.
But did you guys hear about the third one? The third Star Trek, their new director?
No.
He's the guy who did, I think, Tokyo Drift.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Justin Lin?
I think so. It was an Asian guy.
It's gonna be.
He's doing the new Star Trek because JJ went to Star Wars.
Look,
Right, but-
you get Vin Diesel in there as a captain of
Yeah, but
Starship.
what is,
I'm the new
exactly. What are they
Spock.
gonna do with?
You know what's great about this place?
They're gonna turn it
Family.
into It's gonna be a race.
The only thing more logical than that, Captain, is family.
Star Trek 500 now.
Ooh, I like
It's
that.
gonna be a circular track.
So we got a new question for you guys. On a scale of 1 to sexy, how sexy is Oda?
Super Saiyan 5 sexy.
Yeah, thank you.
I no comment.
No
I have no
comment.
answer. I have no answer for this.
Good. That is also a good answer. I like that.
Hope you can accept that.
But the earrings, they'd be Shattuck.
Yeah,
we've got
the
some-
Potara earrings from the Dragon Ball.
So
You're
Seriously,
Japanese, man.
make
You should
plan.
know Dragon
Tell
Ball.
me
That
when
should
we're
be
gonna
like
shave my
your second
beard.
In my
Bible.
DNA,
Yeah, it should be like-
Oh, that should
That
be
could
my
be next
second
Friday.
Bible.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jane will want to play a part.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Again.
That's fine. They don't know.
And,
We could do that next week. We could shave your beard on the live stream. We should take votes. Do you guys want to
We
see
have
us
to
shave
vacuum
your
everything. Do we
No,
even have
no,
a
you know
vacuum?
what?
no.
We can
that-
trash
you
can.
know, outside or something.
It'll be like Dexter. We'll just cover everything in plastic.
There you go. That works too.
We'll have somebody visiting from Korea and they'll be like, "What is going on?"
Oh,
Yeah,
I have
that's
dropped-
true.
Yeah, our devs are coming.
Yeah, that's so. Maybe we shouldn't do it next
So
week.
we haven't
Whenever you
exactly.
want.
We'll see if.
It'll
I don't-
be
I
here.
don't think we would be
It's
able to
not
get
going
anybody on
anywhere.
the
But we
stream.
will. We
We'll
will
have
shave
to-
it on the stream. This will happen. We should
Um,
make it a
do
fundraiser.
for the company.
Yeah,
Do we
for
want to
like,
do a charity drive?
do it for
Charity,
like
okay.
yeah, the charity event that
Actually,
we
I
usually
do have long enough hair to. Let's
Actually,
try
we
it
will
again.
do a
You should
good
cut the hair
donation.
too. I'll cut the hair too.
Okay,
We should
let's
probably
see.
start
Wrapping down.
Except it has to be not cut so short that I can't go to a barber and have it fixed. that
True.
We
that
should
is
see
definitely
if we can bring somebody in who's not just gonna go nuts with the scissors. But yeah, we should see if we can
Maybe.
find like a charity drive.
It'll be
Set that
like
up.
Dexter because we'll all regret it in the
The
end.
end. Oh snap!
I haven't even watched Doctors. You guys ruined it for me.
It's
Yeah, that seemed
It's-
like it didn't
It's
work
great
out.
until
For me, I couldn't stand that. Like, the whole police department is so dumb. Like,
right.
gee,
That
it seems
starts
like
to get to
there's
you
murders
eventually.
constantly happening around you. Oh well.
There's just murders constantly happening in this town.
At least
It's
there was
okay.
one guy who was kind of like,
Yeah, there was. And
yeah.
that part of that was when it was good. Anyway.
So let's wrap up with one last question.
Okay.
What games and movies are you looking forward to this year? What are you gonna go
This
spend all your
year?
money on? Yeah, or
This-
upcoming. I mean, did you see the preview for the Batman versus Superman thing?
I'm Ben Affleck. I mean, I'm Bruce Wayne.
It's weird because they still have the Tumbler in there. Like in that trailer, they
Oh, really?
they had the Batmobile still looks like the Tumbler, so it's kind of it's like when James Bond changes. It's kind of tough to get used to at first.
It's like everyone but or everyone but
Everyone except
Everyone
for
except
Batman
for-
is just the same.
yeah.
Although I
Like,
gotta say, he
that's
looks,
right, Master Wayne. Wait, you're different.
He didn't look that bad as Batman as I
No,
expected.
it looks alright.
Yeah, like the costume and makeup department did a better job making him look more Bruce Wayne than I
I mean,
expected.
There hasn't been a
He's no Val
Batman I
Kilmer,
liked for a
but-
long time.
See, when I first heard Ben Affleck and Batman, I was like, oh, he's gonna direct it. That seems pretty good.
I mean, that was
And then they're like, no, Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm like, George Clooney all over again. Oh.
Well, this time Gotham City is Boston, so so Soups. What are we gonna do? We're gonna go over to get some baked beans.
I think they
and,
need Arnold
clam
Schwarzenegger again to
chowder.
save the movie.
They should put him back in the Mr.
yeah.
Freeze outfit.
That would be
Or at least the governor of like Gotham City or something.
That would actually be a fun.
That would be a
that'd
funny-
fun.
I am
Yeah.
the governor of Gotham City.
And then have some things in his office that allude to him still being Mr. Freeze.
He looks at the snow globe.
Yeah, so like all these conspiracy theories can start. That'd be
Well,
great.
if they brought in stuff from the animated series, that would actually be pretty cool. Well, what games are you guys looking forward to? What are you guys going to E3 this year?
Of course.
As are we.
I mean, we usually do have
but
people there.
What are you guys looking forward to seeing this year?
You go first, because I
Well,
didn't
that's
think
actually a
about it.
really good question. I don't really have a very good answer for that.
I'm putting him on the spot.
Actually, Universe Sandbox 2 is coming
Ooh.
out soon, and I'll be getting that. Not a very exciting game, but I could just do
No,
that for
that-
hours.
You got the universe. You can
Universe
you can
Sandbox.
set the Earth to like the the mass of 1 million suns and see what happens to the galaxy.
Well, yeah, it all sucks in there.
Yeah, it goes pretty
fun.
bad.
And it shoots out faster than light. And
It's like reverse Kerbal Space Program, where you build the planets instead of the...
right, it is. I tried that too. Yeah. And I haven't actually played Grand Theft Auto 5 yet, so I'm still looking forward to that.
It's very good on PC.
I'm gonna be there.
Like, even with my 3-year-old computer, it still looks way
That's what
better
I'm
than
worried
the
about.
Xbox.
Yeah.
There's a ton of scaling options, so if you don't have to have it looking 4K, you can actually get it up to a good frame rate.
At home, I'm still a little behind on the computer department. Here, I could probably play it.
Cool. How about you, Maridah? What are you looking forward to?
Video game wise? Oh god, I don't know. I am so out of the loop. I don't know what's coming out. I have been working so much that I'm pretty much just going home and doing my second job and falling asleep. So
Yeah, there's that.
I'm probably gonna be really surprised when I go to E3. I'll be like, oh, all these things are happening. I didn't know. And everyone will be like, that was announced 6 months ago. What
You'll
happened?
still be surprised.
I hope so. So we actually have a comment about
Aw.
our Slovong video. So if you guys haven't seen that, it is up on YouTube. We went to Hugel, but it's
That
actually
was so
Slovong.
much fun.
It was really fun. It was a long drive, but it was worth going. The place is really charming. So if you guys want to see what a town in RO would look like in real life, this is a good place to visit.
Absolutely. Well, so have you thought of what you
Yeah, I think this year there's supposed to be a new Star Fox.
Is
Is there?
Okay.
Is it going to be an actual Star Fox?
Yeah, for
or
the console. It's gonna be for the Wii U,
okay.
and I am.
I mean, I
could.
could get excited about that, but
But they've got some good Wii U titles coming.
I'm just so worried that it's gonna end up like that weird.
Oh, Star Fox Adventure.
Yeah, where it was like playing a Zelda game almost, but with dinosaurs.
And then I was expecting Zelda to come out this year, but then they delayed it till like early 2016.
That really sounded cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's better to delay it and put out something good than rush it out.
That's the nice thing about Nintendo is they always.
They do wait.
Yeah.
For the good stuff.
You
Yeah.
gotta announce Fallout this year, right? Like what is
I
Bethesda
know on Reddit
doing?
that's what they're saying. And they're like Bethesda leaked out like a pass to the media,
Oh.
and there was like every image on there was of all Bethesda games except for Fallout, and they're like,
Huh.
I really hope they announce it because I think Fallout 3 might be one of the games I've spent more hours playing than any other recent game, I guess. And it's a lot of fun to wander around in those worlds and just explore.
yeah, that game. Actually, I played way more than Skyrim, and after the first round,
Hey,
like,
you can't have guns in Skyrim, man.
Yeah. Well, in the first time I played Fallout, everyone always makes like a good character to get the good ending, right? Most people do. But then the second time around, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go around as an evil guy. I'm just gonna punch things to death. So I had this like glove that like extends and just
you got the
punches.
perk that makes people's heads blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do that.
It's a little hilarious.
So we have someone in the chat who wants to cosplay as Oda, but
That
needs
sounds
your
fun.
permission.
Yeah, of course. If you can get some hipster glasses and
Hawaiian
old
shirt?
Hawaiian shirts and maybe about 50 pounds, you could definitely cosplay as me.
I would actually really enjoy seeing that if somebody.
I still haven't had people recognize me in public, so I feel like I'm not on the
We
F list yet.
need to change that.
The D- list.
I'm gonna pay people at AX to run up and be like, "Oh my God, it's Oda!"
I mean, I'll probably be at AX, just like having a meet and greet, even
Yeah.
if I can't afford to buy a pass. Okay, and let's say that the last question for tonight maybe will be Carl's Chris. You want
Yeah.
to read that one?
Favorite video game genre? What is it?
Open world.
Yeah, like sandbox.
All right, I'm the different one. I like JRPGs. Different story every time.
Are you looking forward to Persona 5? Do you play 4?
yeah. Actually, I'm more looking forward to Fire Emblem.
Okay, yeah.
That looks very
Is
interesting.
that, what platform? Is that Wii?
Wii U as well.
Not
But
too
I
sure,
mean,
man.
Final Fantasy 15. That looks fantastic. Kingdom Hearts 3, yeah. They're going to probably show that at E3 this year.
I want Japan to make a resurgence.
Yeah. I've been a huge fan of JRPGs since I was little. Like, I'd say one of the other favorite games is Xenogears.
Oh wait, I changed all of my answers to Metal Gear Solid 5.
You're like, wait a second, something is calling me. Oh, and Zone of the Enders.
What?
Have you ever played that?
You're coming in
No. Like, have you played that?
They're gonna
I
get
I know
don't
you like Metal Gear.
I've heard it's good. I've heard it's really
Do you have
good.
a PS3?
I do.
I'll let you borrow my Zone of Enders collection.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just finished up Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3
Mhm.
after never playing them. It's great. Certainly there are problems. The controls get better with each
Yeah.
one, but they're always, you can tell it's from a distinct director. Like,
Mhm.
it's like when you watch a Spielberg film. It's when you watch a J.J. Abrams film. Like, you can tell that somebody, like a singular person was at the reins. You can really tell with Kojima. Like,
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
wants to do a fart joke in the middle of, this war melodrama, he'll do it. He
Yeah.
doesn't care. It's insane.
But I
Sometimes
think
you
you'll
need
really
that
like Zone
to
of
relieve
Enders.
tension.
That's
It
a
makes-
really good game.
Well, I mean, that is like your
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is like
My
mechs.
genre is mechs. Like, I love mech stuff.
So why no new front mission games?
Because they just don't make profit off of them. Sad to say.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, Steel Battalion Connect was so good. I mean, they gotta.
I think it does end up limiting a lot of stuff that people might like, but if niche, it's just sometimes. It's just,
Well, I just wish they brought out Super Robot Wars over here. Right? Like Gundam, Macross, Mazinger, all like battling out tactic style.
My first boss here, the head GM of R1, back in the first and second offices, he was the biggest fan of the Super Robot Wars.
Mhm.
It's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they never brought it over here, which is
a pity.
damn shame.
And
they
they have
they
like
need
the
to bring all of those old series over.
yeah.
I think there might be licensing issues, especially with the fact
No,
that there's Macross.
it's one group. Yeah, Macross.
Yeah, it's
one
because
group.
Harmony Gold
Because of Harmony
owns,
Gold.
yeah,
Oh, man.
they own Macross and they
Ooh,
sell it as
Harmony Gold.
Robotech, and they will not let go of that license. It will leave them when they die.
Incorporate mechs into Requiem.
Yeah,
I wish
there
just-
More
some-
like
there were some
Steam,
ideas
or
for
like
that.
kind of like a dark,
Yeah.
like
Like a
it's
siege
like a
wagon.
symbiosis of flesh.
I mean, we
and
have that. We
machine.
have like the
We have a
RoboGuard.
siege wagon.
Yeah.
Isn't there an idea for like this
That
big old
sounds
siege
awesome.
wagon?
Yeah, but it takes a lot of resources. And
Well, yeah, you'd have to have a. Yeah.
we wish it's on the wish list. If Requiem becomes like extra
We could-
successful,
Need more
we
people.
could
for that.
expand the team and
so tell your friends to play some Requiem so you can
then we could get some mechs in
mechs.
there with like I don't know giant missile launchers and stuff. But, yeah.
That's super cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on the video. I just want to give a shout out. If you go to, I'm hijacking this so I can mention Ragnarok 1 events. But we actually have, if you go to our forums, we've got our community contests and events. And this weekend we have two of our volunteers, Alaska and Itawashiri, who've got a spring raffle event going on. You can find more details of that in the community contests and events section of the forums. So please check that out. There's always in-game and forum events that are going on in that section. And it's a ton of fun. Usually there'll be announcements in-game when these go off too, so keep an eye out.
Yep.
Is there
All
anything you guys want to mention real quick before we...
Oh,
There's a Forge event all weekend.
Forge event, very cool.
Okay.
well,
Who doesn't
I mean,
love that?
if you guys play Requiem, there is the Battlefield event that's going on right now. If you win like 25 battlefields, we give you a reward.
Participation.
Yeah.
event.
No, well, not participation. You have to actually win the battlefield.
Well, right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, you
So-
have to participate to win.
So if you get like, 25 wins, you get a prize. 50 wins, you get a prize, and a 25 prize. You get 100 wins, you get the subsequent prizes, and then the top 5 winners of each server will get like Infinity Atlas, which are like these stones that are pretty good for almost everything in the game.
They're standard.
And also a special item. Like, we're not going to say what it is yet, but
We're
I think
making it
You'll have
for
to
this.
find
yeah.
out.
And then Nightmare Crescent is giving triple EXP.
Oh yeah, that's
And yeah, the Forge event, which is like like
70% reinforcement.
yeah, you get a better chance of like upgrading your items or enchanting it, compounding it. Yeah.
That's
That is
impossible
super
to
cool.
do.
And any of our RO2 people, mount contest is ending this weekend, so please get those in. Cause, yeah, I will have to close it down on Monday so that we can start voting. Cause the voting process is very difficult but very fun. So yeah, these guys will have some more stuff to vote on. So hopefully you guys will have your entries in by then. The due date is today, but I will let you guys submit a little bit late just so you get them done, but get it in.
Very cool. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week
Yep, same
at
time.
5 o'clock. And so thank you very much to Helium and Alteris and Maridah. And from all of you, from all of us here at the Warpportal offices, you guys have a wonderful weekend and take care.
See you guys.